Welcome to Malifaux Mondays. My name is Hydra, and in this series, we're going to be taking you on our adventure into the dark and magical world of Malifaux. Malifaux is a gaming system which has been on our radar for some time, and with a few false starts over the years, we've never quite made it around to taking on the system. So, when the Dice Gods were looking for a new, lighter gaming system with a unique aesthetic, Mali was the obvious choice. For those of you unfamiliar with Malifaux, it's a story-driven, 32mm scale skirmish wargame set in an alternate Earth of the 1900s. It's a magical world of horror and wonder, but the game takes place not on Earth, but through a tear in our universe opening to another world. When the first adventurers travelled through this breach, they found themselves in an abandoned, desolate city, and above its main gate, one word: Malifaux. But despite first impressions, Malifaux was far from abandoned, and dark forces skulked and crawled in the darkest corners. Or, from the locals' perspective, they were biding their time, waiting for the perfect moment to eject the invaders from their home. The game, now in its third edition since release in 2009, has a unique look and feel, taking elements of gothic and Lovecraftian horror, as well as steampunk, Asian mysticism, the Wild West, drunk gremlins, the undead, the list goes on. It's a unique cocktail which blends together to create a world unlike any we've seen before. Gameplay wise, Malifaux doesn't use dice. We know, what madness is this? In place, you will use a deck of cards called a Fate deck to complete actions, cheating embedded cards to boost your results and beat your enemies. As mentioned, Mali is a skirmish game, so you'll be fielding less than 10 miniatures in your crew for each game. But that's enough on the game itself for now. We'll cover gameplay and all the great things this game lets you do in a future video. For today, we're going to be talking to the two Dice Gods who are taking their first steps into finding out whether their power extends beyond dice, and onto cards as well. And the first player putting on his brave pants and stepping into the breach is me, Hydra. It's no secret that my first love is Infinity. It's also no secret that Infinity is deep and requires your full attention on every game. Plus, setting up all the terrain is frankly a nightmare if you only have a short amount of time, and whilst I do play Star Wars Legion, and this does have easier, simpler rules and table setup, it's a much larger scale system, so that makes playing more complex and time consuming. Likewise with Flames of War. What I wanted was a palate cleanser, a game with enough depth that I could immerse myself in it, whilst still being able to just have a quick game when I find myself with the odd 90 minutes to spare. But also a different setting, not more sci-fi, not historical, or just a standard sci-fi setting, something different. So Malifaux was an obvious choice, hitting all the right notes and also offering some gorgeous miniatures. When it came to the first faction, there was one choice for me. The Ten Thunders. The Asian aesthetic of both warrior and mythical creatures was too much for me to resist. And the range of different types of crew you can build in this faction is epic, and having promised myself I would start with one, I've somehow ended up with two. The first is Misaki Katanaka and her Last Blossom crew. The Queen of the Shadows herself, Misaki rules the Ten Thunders in Malifaux and is the ultimate ninja assassin. For me, being able to field a crew of chain gun wielding samurai, bowmen, dragons and much more besides was a no-brainer. My second crew, for some contrast, is Asami Tanaka. A conduit of Oni, which are a type of demon, Asami can conjure up monsters from beyond to take part in her schemes. Herself possessed by a powerful Oni called Amunjaku, who gives her the occult powers she wields in combat. But at what cost? The playstyle of these two crews is very, very different. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they contrast and the different tactical options I get with both. But I fully anticipate I'm going to make a mountain of mistakes before I get any good. We'll see how it goes. The second Dice God to step up to the challenge and dive into the depths of Malifaux is the mighty Lillith.
Like Hydra, I love playing Infinity, but it can be a bit intimidating when you want to have some quick fun. It doesn't help that when we do play, I want to play it well, and currently I am a bit rusty. So having to read up on the rules every other order doesn't really help for the game flow. I love the contrast between Malifaux and Infinity as well. One is dark and a bit more medieval fantasy, where the other one is futuristic and more sci-fi with guns. Where both have amazing unique miniatures and a small scale army, I do love how at Malifaux it's less army and more a bunch of crazy characters. For my first faction, there was only one choice. Magic, crazy creatures, fae. Hecking right, I'm choosing Neverborn, and as my first crew, Titania, the one and only queen. I hadn't even looked into how they play yet, so definitely going for the rule of cool here. I mean, it worked out with my Space Nuns for Infinity, so it can only turn out well, right? I have to be honest though, I did have some trouble choosing whether I was going for Pandora, Rasputina, or Titania. I love all three core boxes. They've each got their own cool aesthetic, but in the end, it's the Autumn Nights that did it for me. I'm very excited to start exploring this new Mali world, and already got gifted a new mini to add to my crew before I even played my first game. Killjoy will soon join the ranks with Titania, and from what I've seen, you do not want to get caught in his chain.
And that's our first Malifaux Monday. Look out for more in the coming weeks as we sort out our table, build and paint our crews, and then take our first steps into the game of Malifaux. If you have any advice or ideas, please put them in the comments below. If you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe, tapping the bell so you know when our next video is up. For now, thanks for watching and we'll see you again soon.